freut sich die Theresa.
Hast du das schon gehört, natürlich, oder?
Was?
Mit Theresa die Folge? Oder gibt's die schon? Oder?
Ja, natürlich.
Ja, ich habe sie noch nicht gehört.
Ja, die musst du anhören.
Dürfen wir aber nicht über Konkurrenzprodukte sprechen, wenn wir schon live sind hier, ne?
Naja, das sind ja auch irgendwie Kunden und Lieferanten.
Das stimmt. Und gute Leute.
Ja, das stimmt.
Schönen guten Abend.
Servus.
Wir sind's wieder, wie immer, jeden Dienstag live im Wein-kreis, 20 Uhr. Neben mir sitzt der Kilian-Kreis.
Das ist der Björn.
Hi. Schön, dass ihr wieder da seid alle, zahlreich zuschaut. Kein Wunder aber, denn heute gibt's was ganz Besonderes. Wir verlassen das erste Mal seit vielen Wochen, glaube ich, bei Live im Wein-kreis Deutschland.
Ja.
Und siedeln nach Portugal über ins Dourotal. Wunderbare, besondere Region.
Super schön.
Super landschaftlich, reizvoll, tolle Weingüter. Douro ist, um das Wissen ganz kurz mal abzuklopfen, ein Fluss.
Korrekt.
Er fließt von Spanien nach Porto, wo er in den Atlantik mündet, und entlang des Flusses wächst.
Darf ich dich ganz kurz unterbrechen?
Ja, natürlich.
Hört ihr uns? Daumen hoch, wenn ihr uns hört. Wenn sich nur die Münder bewegen, vielleicht so eine Marionetten-Smiley. Gibt's das überhaupt?
Das sollte man gemeinsam mit dem Weißwein-Emoji auf jeden Fall einführen. Vielen Dank, Torben. Ich vergesse es jedes Mal zu fragen und presche vor.
Okay.
Entschuldigung. Der Douro jedenfalls entspringt in Spanien, fließt nach Porto. Jetzt habe ich den Faden wiedergefunden. Und die Region ist natürlich vor allem bekannt für Portwein. Oder war lange vor allem bekannt für Portwein. Das hat sich in den letzten Jahren, gar nicht mal glücklicherweise, weil Portwein ist eine tolle Sache, wie man, glaube ich, auch genau hinter uns sehen kann.
Ja.
Das hat sich aber ein wenig gewandelt, denn irgendwann hat man herausgefunden, und wer Mann ist, dazu kommen wir gleich, dass man da auch ganz tolle trockene Weine machen kann. Aber ich glaube, das kann der Kilian genau sagen, was es damit auf sich hat, dass man auf einmal das herausgefunden hat.
Ja, das war der Großvater vom João, der heute mit dabei sein wird, der den Bacavella, also den ersten wirklich erfolgreichen trockenen Douro-Wein gemacht hat und auch den ersten, der überhaupt vermarktet wurde. Sonst ist es immer nur als Nebenprodukt entstanden, das man halt zu Hause getrunken hat. Aber vielleicht erklären wir noch kurz genauer, wo wir da sind.
Ja, gerne. Ja.
Weil der Fluss, der ist ja relativ lang. Ich glaube, das ist der zweitlängste Fluss auf der Iberischen Halbinsel.
Das stimmt.
Und die Weinbauregion in Portugal ist dreigeteilt. Da gibt es den unteren Douro, den mittleren und den oberen. Und wir sind am oberen Douro. Das heißt, so wie der Vogel fliegt, 10 Kilometer von Spanien entfernt. Nach Norden sind es so 100 Kilometer oder 60 Kilometer. Also es ist nicht mehr weit von Spanien weg auf jeden Fall. Man hat ein sehr, sehr kontinentales Klima, was bedeutet heiße Tage, kühle Nächte, heiße Sommer und kalte Winter. Es gibt relativ wenig Niederschlag, was da echt ein Problem ist. Und ja.
Und was wir heute uns zum Trinken, oder was du uns zum Trinken ausgesucht hast, ist eben ein Wein von Quinta do Monte Xisto. Wahrscheinlich 4 bis 5 ausgesprochen, das gerade in Schulnoten von mir. Also wahrscheinlich eher eine 5 oder so. Ein unfassbar tolles Weingut, was viel mehr Leute kennenlernen müssen. Und was es in Deutschland exklusiv, welche Überraschung, hier in der Wein- und Kreis in Stuttgart oder natürlich online zu erwerben gibt. Kilian, vielleicht ganz kurz noch ein paar Worte zu dem Wein, den du rausgesucht hast heute, bevor wir richtig loslegen und probieren endlich mal.
Ja, das ist der Einstiegswein vom Weingut. Den gibt es noch nicht so lang. Ich glaube, das ist jetzt sogar der erste Jahrgang, 2019er. Und der soll einfach das komplette obere Dourotal widerspiegeln. Der nennt sich Orbita. Es kommt daher, dass eben die Weinreben ringsrum ums Weingut stehen, um die Produktion, und da auch Weinstöcke oder Weinreben in allen Expositionen, also da sind Nordlagen drin, Ost, West, Süd und alles, was dazwischen auch gibt.
Toller poetischer Name schon,
Ja.
ne? Orbita, das Orbit, ja, ein anderer von Ihnen heißt ja Oriente, weil der nur Osthangreben hat, glaube ich, ne? Das hast du vorhin ja auch erklärt. Also Namensgebung finde ich schon sehr schön, sehr gelungen. Rundum, wie gesagt, ein ganz, ganz tolles Weingut. Aber am besten kann es natürlich jemand erzählen, der direkt aus dieser Familie entstammt. Und zwar ist das der João. Das ist der in 3. Generation jetzt dann wahrscheinlich. Das ist der Enkel des legendären Großvaters, der den ersten trockenen Douro-Rotwein sozusagen gemacht hat.
Genau.
Und der wartet, glaube ich, schon. Sollen wir den mal dazu holen?
Den hole ich mal dazu.
Orbita gibt es ganz neu hier, wie gesagt. Ich habe ihn noch nie probiert bisher. Deshalb bin ich sehr gespannt deswegen. Und solange er noch nicht dabei ist, würde ich sagen,
Cheers.
Probestückchen, cheers.
Ich habe so eine richtig schöne, leckere, frische rote Frucht mit drin.
Ich glaube sogar ganz gut, dass wir ihn karaffiert haben. Mal Lakritze in den Raum werfen, das ist vermessen. Okay, dann kann ich Lakritze ein bisschen lauter sagen.
Ja.
Auch straff, wirklich sehr straff, wenn man die anderen Weine kennt. Du hattest du ja auch vorhin schon gesagt, du hast den ja schon davor probiert, die durchaus vielleicht ein bisschen opulenter sind oder so. Kann ja aber natürlich auch an den Jahrgängen liegen. Aber der scheint mir sehr, vielleicht auch weil er noch von 2019 ist, aber der scheint mir wirklich sehr fokussiert und sehr straff und sehr knackig noch.
Ja, also ich finde, der hat wirklich super viel Druck, viel Zug. Ich versuche es gerade nochmal, den João dazu zu holen.
Wie immer hat es in der Testrunde natürlich
fast
perfekt geklappt. Oh Gott.
das Stream beendet.
Wie jede Woche gilt, wir sind natürlich offen für Fragen und wir werden natürlich gleich auch auf Englisch switchen. Sonst können wir uns mit João wahrscheinlich nur mäßig gut unterhalten, weil mein Portugiesisch non-existent leider ist. Wer Fragen hat, gerne fragen. Wer den Wein auch trinkt, das sind ja wahrscheinlich wie immer einige, gern auch etwas dazu schreiben, was es dazu vielleicht zu essen gibt oder wie er gefällt, wie viele Flaschen noch im Keller schlummern. Aber so viele können es noch gar nicht sein, oder? Weil ich meine, den gibt es ja, wie gesagt, noch gar
Seit
nicht lange.
4 Wochen erst, glaube ich.
Toll. Du warst schon im Douro, wahrscheinlich Dourotal bestimmt, oder? Wann das letzte Mal?
Das war 2 Wochen, bevor es mit Corona losging, glaube ich.
Okay, kurz vor knapp.
Ja.
Hast du da auch hier Monte Xisto besucht, oder wo wart ihr unterwegs überall?
Wir waren natürlich in Porto, wir waren im Vinho Verde, haben Alves de Sousa mit wirklich feinen Portwein und trockenen Rotwein besucht. Ja, der wird hoffentlich auch bald dabei sein. João hat irgendwie noch Probleme. João, if you are listening, maybe try to update your app, but it should work.
I mean, it worked fine just a couple of minutes ago.
And that's kind of weird.
Der Vorführeffekt auf gut Deutsch.
Oder jetzt ist doch die Zeitverschiebung. Lieber Levin, der Wein kostet 25 €. Vielleicht 26.
Ja, ich glaube, er ist auch 26, glaube ich, ja.
Passt sehr gut zur Ente übrigens.
Ente, ausgezeichnet. Das stelle ich mir sehr, sehr gut vor. Ja. Müssen wir mal probieren, ihn dazu zu holen? Wie immer, habt ein klein wenig Geduld mit uns. Wir sind uns sicher, dass João gleich da ist.
Wir sind zwar Experten, aber keine Profis.
Das ist eine kleine, feine Linie.
Vielleicht lade ich auch gerade die ganze Zeit immer den falschen Nicolau de Almeida rein.
Dann haben wir auch mit dem falschen geschrieben vorher schon. There he is.
Hi João.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, good evening. Excellent, how are you?
Nice to see you.
I'm fine. I just opened here a bottle of the Orbita and I drink a little bit. I had a hard day, but now I think I'm feeling a little bit better.
Yes, now it comes the relaxing part of the day. So, cheers. It's nice to have you. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Cheers.
We've just been talking a bit about Douro, about, the wine, about Quinta, the Monte Xisto. And maybe it's best that we start because, maybe now the people watching have had their first sips. We have heard our first sips. That you tell us something or a little bit about the wine. So what are we drinking here? Why is this wonderful wine special?
Well, that's a tough question because I have to explain a little bit how this wine born. So this wine, it's from Quinta Monte Xisto, and Quinta Monte Xisto. So it's from our family. we have a family project that it's my father that is a winemaker, and then my mother, my brother Mateus that is also a winemaker, then me that I'm winemaker, and my sister Mafala. And so my father, we are from families, from the side of my father and from the side of my mother, that always worked in wine, especially especially from the side of my father, that not only because there are a lot of families that owned companies, but we do wine from many generations. So like winemakers from many.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
that's fine.
Hello, you can hear me?
Hey,
We can hear you.
Because it's no, the phone went black, so
Oh,
I'm sorry. So we have this the thing, and my father worked in Ramos Pinto, that it's a house that makes port wine and red and white wine from Douro, and that it was from our family. And then he had this dream that was to make a wine with us, and he found this place in Douro, that is in the sub-region of the Douro Superior, that is Quinta de Monte Xisto. Monte Xisto means a mountain of schist.
Mm-hmm.
Schist, it's the rock of Douro.
like in the Mosel.
Like in the Mosel, exactly. And we have very things in common with Mosel. The way that the wine, the vineyard is planted, and the rock. And so the good place is to make good wine from Douro. It's when you don't have a lot of land. You have like this of land, and then you have the mother rock. It's very important that the roots enter on this mother rock by the fixtures of the schist, and they go with a deepness very, very high. And that's the reason that the plants can survive in the climate like the Douro, that it's very hot and very dry. So this place, Monte Xisto, it's a mountain of schist. That's the reason my father found this place and said, no, this is here. He normally says that it's like a dog, that I don't know how to say this in English without being rude, but he pissed there, and he said, no, this is mine, I'm going to do here the thing. And we start with the wine that it's Quinta do Monte Xisto, that's a blend of three varieties, Portuguese varieties, Touriga Nacional, Touriga Francesa, and Tinto Cão. And then it born a second wine that it's Oriente, and the third wine was Orbita, that it's all the grapes that orbit around Monte, inside the Quinta, around Monte Xisto and Oriente. So this is a wine that it's 70% of Touriga Nacional, and 30% of a parcel that it's field blend.
okay.
Planted all the varieties together. it's a wine that it's made fermented on the cement tank, and then gets sold apart on cement tank and apart on old barrels of 600 liters. And one thing that I think we achieved, it's to try to, the Touriga Nacional, normally it's a variety, have this character of a little bit massive, mature, and we wanted to deconstruct this idea of the Touriga Nacional. Of course, it's a rich wine, but it's a very smooth and elegant wine.
Oh, yes.
We want to preserve that thing, that DNA that we have, our philosophy of making the wine. So this is it. The wine is born. It's the first. Well, we made a lot of experiments before, but it's the first vintage that we put on the market, the 2019. That I think it's I like a lot this vintage 19. It's very because it rained on the spring, that it's very good. Of course, it's difficult for the diseases, but it was good because the soil, it had water. In this region, in Upper Douro, it rains really very few water. It's between per year, it's about 300 and 400 millimeters. So, and it's incredible how in such dry region and hot region, we can do wines with such freshness.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That's the thing that always I cannot. It's strange. And for me, the explanation it's the mother rock. That's the thing. Well, but I was telling about the 19, and then it had a summer. That's the good part, that it had not very warm summer. It was warm, but not very warm, and with cold nights. That it also a very good thing in Douro, that the nights after mid of July start to get cold.
Yeah, it preserves the acidity.
Oh yeah.
Yes, but that's difficult for the plants. They need to rest a little bit from all this hot during the day, and also for us because
it makes it easier to sleep. Hi, Pedro.
Hello, Pedro. João, we've just established before you joined that, well, your family, your grandfather and your father, they were in our iconic figures in the not only the Portuguese wine world, with all the progress they did and all the innovations they've established that are still so relevant today. But I always find it so exciting that this spirit of progress comes from a region that maybe can't be more traditional when it comes to wine, because it's one of the oldest, or even the oldest, I guess, demarcated wine region we have in Europe. So is this something that is both present within your family, tradition and the will to move forward?
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly that. That's that balance that it's very important. The tradition, it's very, very important, because we have old people, not old people, that's not the way to say, I don't know how to say, the knowledge of our ancestor, it's crucial. We read all the books, we try to know all about that, because it's very important, this information. And then we have this spirit of studying, trying to reach new things. We are always experimenting with new things.
Danke.
Yes. It's not COVID the time there, no?
No.
No.
Free COVID.
You are far away enough.
No, I was joking. But what I was saying, I'm sorry. So we have this thing of studying the especially on the vineyard. Since we have begun, for example, Germany, in Austria or in France, it's very common, but in Portugal, when we started, it was not common to not use chemicals on the vineyard. Since the beginning, zero chemics, and we start to treat the vineyard with plants, and this knowledge, it's of course from the old people. It's things that they did it since a long time ago. But for example, now we said, well, we have to study this, and we are studying with the university all the infusions that we make with plants. What do they really have? For example, the cactus that we use for not burning the leaves and the branches. It's fantastic, the effect we see by the eyes, but to understand why. All these plants, I don't know how to say the English, the plants, petrus, the plants that we use, all this we are studying. Well, what nutrients they have, what they can, what defense they can apport to the plants, and to understand all this. So we are making a big study about that, and that's our way of being. We are always trying to learn a little bit more. And then, of course, all the cultural practices that we have on the vineyard, that's the thing, that we are going forward, but going back. I don't know how to say, at this time, for example, the vineyards, we start to plant, and we look at what they do in France or in other countries, and we start to do the pruning like cordon de Roya. I don't know how to say on cordon. With high vegetation, that's not good.
It sucks out of the water, out of the soil.
All of the water, transpiration, no leaves. That's not good in our opinion. And of course, before in Douro, never this pruning system never existed. It was low. The leaves were not high.
Yeah.
So this protect all from the bunches, and we are doing these kind of things. So this is the idea, going back and forward.
Back to the roots.
Yeah. Maybe 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or just at least looking over your shoulder from time to time.
What I found interesting, you said that you planted field plants, and your father was the one who started planting grape varieties in single vineyards to see what grape variety has which properties in the vineyard and in the wine. Why did you then go back to the field plants?
The another thing. I think the human being needs to know. It's curious. My father studied in Bordeaux, and then in Bordeaux and Dijon. Then he came here. He arrives to Douro, and it was all mixed. Okay, that's good. He was excited about it, but he had this scientific also thought that it's, and he wanted to know so what these varieties they give, because there are some studies from before, but more on the vineyard, not so much on the wine. And my father started to study all the varieties and to select the varieties that he thought it was the best, making vinification, starting to understand how they work on the vineyard and on the vinification. And he arrived to a conclusion, and he selected 5 red varieties. But he said, well, now this has to continue, because there is a lot of varieties in Douro. That's the fantastic part about Douro, that it's really, you can have so many different roles in the same place, that it's there's so many different varieties. They have varieties that's going to give you a red wine, structure, body, with density. And then you have varieties that are going to give you a wine like Bourgogne, it's Burgundy.
Oriente, for example.
But then, of course, after you know the result, you want to try to mix, because to mix on the field, it's fantastic. When you have an old vineyard mixed, when the mix of varieties, it's good for the place where the vineyard is, it's fantastic. Mm. And that's what we try to do in our vineyard with the knowledge that we had from before.
Yeah.
Try to, that was, okay, go back to go forward. It was that thing.
Yeah.
And my father is completely motivated with this. And also, for example, in his times, it was the industry, the mechanization, the time of mechanization of the vineyard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we changed that. And all this change for him, it's fantastic. It's a new world. It's not stopped.
It's crazy.
But that's impressive. You mean, I once read that there are over 100 grape varieties in Douro alone. So this must have been a lot of work, finding out which are best for your wine. So I guess there are years and years of study. And what I also read is, maybe it's not true today, that Quinta de Monte Xisto has 40 hectares, but only 10 planted with wine. So what do you do with the rest of it, and why?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not 40 hectares now. It's 60, because we are always this kind of viticulture. It's Monte Xisto area. It's really a virgin place. It's fantastic. It's wild. Mm-hmm. And we have there a balance, nature balance, that it's crucial for our viticulture, mm-hmm. and for our wine. So we need to have more area not more area, the same area without vineyard, mm-hmm. with all the forest and all these plants around us, and the animals and all this biodiversity that is around us. So if we don't protect a little bit, people start to plant vineyards, and the balance goes bad. Doesn't flow in the same way. So it's very important to have this protect area in our point of view.
Yeah, we don't want to have a monoculture. No. It's already bad enough.
And that's exactly the...
There was a question.
Torben, who is a winemaker in Trentino, from the Enrici family, he wanted to know how high your planting density is.
That's a very good question. So the density in Douro.
We can't hear you.
No. And there you are again.
You can hear me now?
That's fine. Yes, we can.
I'm sorry. You can go to the density to 2,000 plants per hectare to 8,000 plants. So it depends on the deepness of the place. Mm-hmm. But we are hearing. We are. That's another thing that we are studying. It's to our vineyard in Monte Xisto. It's 5,000 plants per hectare. Because it's vineyard, we have 3 systems more or less of plantation. That is the old.
Nein.
Technik ist ein bisschen schwierig heute. That's all right. That's all right. You're back again.
So. We have these 3 types of plantation. The old vineyard that it's in terrace, and we can have more density of plantation. And then we have the patamares, that it's like walls on land made by a caterpillar.
Yeah.
But there, it's I don't like so much this kind of plantation, because you have a low density of plantation, and then it's very difficult to control the herbs.
You have a lot of erosion.
Mm-hmm. And the erosion and the herbs.
Okay, yeah.
That grows up on the walls of land. You have to cut that. Mm-hmm. It's difficult to manage this part.
But this is the system that everybody has in mind when they think of Douro, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's the difficult part of controlling the plants that grow. You don't have this mechanization that allows to cut this vegetation. So, but the worst system on that, it's the lands that we call patamars. It's the walls of land. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We have planted now a vineyard of 10,000 plants per hectare.
Okay.
Because start to think it's not possible, and especially with this kind of viticulture, the production by food, it's low. We have a very low production. If we had more in the same area, but more production, with more foods, of more vineyard, more density of plantation. Well, we could have more biodiversity because we don't need so much area, and we have better quality, and maybe the cost per kilo it's not so different. But this we plant last year. We still don't know very well how to work. It's going to be a vineyard all made by hand. It's no tractor, no machine that enters there. But it's the answer for that question, to be more precise, it's between 2,000 plants per hectare to 8,000. But now we plant a vineyard, but it's not common, of 10,000 plants per hectare.
Is this on the top of the Monte Xisto, or is it on the slope?
It's more down.
Okay.
More on a lower part. It's a small parcel, and it's fantastic to see the vineyard. But let's see, it doesn't have wires. Doesn't have nothing. Just the plants.
Wow.
And 10,000 plants per hectare.
So it's a little bit like in the Rhone.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. But let's see how does it work. It's still very young, the vineyard. Let's see. But I think that's the future. It's to increase the density. It's not possible to have a sustainable region with 2,000 plants per hectare. It's not possible, and it's not quality work. And I think Douro really needs to go to this range, to the quality, because you look at the landscape and you understand that it's not possible to make wines that are going to compete with other regions that it's much more easier to do it. And so that's the thing, the way, the future, I think.
João, please allow me a personal, maybe even emotional question, because I just can't stress enough how marvelous your wines are. And I can't stress enough that many more people should get to know them, as we said before, exclusively in Germany here at Wein-kreis. You come from such an ambitious family. What is your ambition? Where does your true ambition lie when it comes to wine? Where does your heart really beat?
I don't have big ambitions, to be honest. No.
Come on.
No, I really, it's the thing of, for me, the ambition, it's all this system that we are creating that really works. That to plant to have these vineyards worked on this way, and to be able to survive on this world, for me, it's the main goal that I have with my family. That's the thing, to live the wine and to experiment all these marvelous things that the wine gives us. We are very simple, on the wine. Of course, ambitions, we are always, but this is our way of being, ambition of understand, we are never stopped. But that's the good part, the funny part, Sorry. So this is a little bit this.
But I think you're just too humble to say, because this is in my ears true ambition. Where you were just telling us, for you it's natural, maybe I get this, but to me it sounds very, very ambitious to keep this high standard that you have. So.
Yes, that's true. And Also, a good, interesting thing, it's in Douro, you have big companies, big vineyards.
Mhm.
And it's, I don't know any vineyard that, of course, if you go to Burgundy, it's another reality. If you go to Germany, it's another reality. But here, to have a vineyard that is only 10 hectares and to have 60 hectares on total, and to survive with this vineyard, it's an achievement because it doesn't exist. It's all more big things that can do it. And this is a new, and I hope that is going to appear much more ideas like this, because it's there where we are going to make the creative part, the personality of this region.
Is it still the truth that most people who have vineyards are only grape growers and not winemakers? So they sell the grapes or the must to the big port companies?
Yes, there is a lot of this. Well, in the port wine has begin a lot of like business wine. It always have been, and there is a lot of this thing that it's buy grapes from the growers, and then make the wine, and you sell it with your own label. There is fantastic wines that are made like that, but it's impossible to be the same thing that to have your own vineyard and to know what it is, the vineyard, and have all this knowledge. Transport your knowledge from the wine to the vineyard and the vineyard from the wine. This is a thing that is not going to happen with buying grapes. So it's very important to start little by little to change this reality.
You were just talking about ideas. Where did you get your ideas? Because from what I remember, you went to France, to the area of Montpellier, I guess, or where exactly have you been before you came back? To the family when you.
No, I studied in Montpellier, in France, and a little bit on Bordeaux also. And then I made vintage in a lot of places. And but the country that I learned and I start to well, I was already completely since me and my brothers are born. We are around the middle of barrels and vineyards and Xisto. So we know, but where I really start to have another point of view of the wine, it was in France that I was studying there and visiting all these winemakers, these vignerons, these guys that it's incredible. And that's what that you have also in Germany, that here in Portugal we have, but it's like we in the I'm sorry, I have to touch the screen. We have, but the bottle wine, well, that a couple years ago, the bottle wine was from the big companies, and but you talk with the Portuguese, and everybody has a mother or a grandmother or grandfather that has his vineyard and makes his wine. Everybody makes wine. But it's not labeled. And this is the thing that in France I learned more, that everybody made wine in label. So this is a different reality when I studied there, and not necessary to be study enology, or if you go to a vineyard, there is a philosopher guy that started to build this idea about that. Then there is a guy from astronomy. Then this is very, very important. There you start to create the personality of the wines, and that's what's happening at this moment in Portugal, and in the Douro region especially. But not only the region, you have the vinhos verdes, that it's making wines that are fantastic wines. You have Dão, you have Bairrada, you have Alentejo, Lisbon, even Algarve. So there is a big movement of experimenting, making wines, the vineyard. There is a big movement here in Portugal.
Well, that is so good to know, because that means that we will see a lot more of this in the coming years. I mean, there can't be better news.
But it's also really good because nobody likes to drink only Mateus Rosé and port wine. It's nice to have something different.
Yeah, absolutely. João, maybe one thing, or Kilian, that you just mentioned in the beginning of our nice little show, the similarities between Douro and Mosel. I have to confess, I didn't know, because I'm not so deep into the business as you two are, but maybe you can explain a bit?
I think...
For example, sorry, Kilian, sorry.
Yeah, but you know probably more about it. So both regions are really influenced by the soil, by the schist, Schiefer in German.
Schiefer, yeah.
And depending on how the Schiefer or the schist is oriented, because in both regions you have areas where it's flat, where it's like this, the plates, this makes a huge difference.
Okay.
Then the different aspects. So if you are north of the river on a south-facing slope, the sun reflects off the river. So you get double the sunlight, which means much higher ripeness.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
If you're in the river valley and not on a side valley, you mostly get more wind. So this really affects the temperatures, but maybe you can elaborate a little more.
No, it's exactly that. You know that my father, he also started to plant the vineyard. I told you that you have the patamars, that it's walls on land, and then you imagine a mountain, and then the vineyard, it's like this. And then there is the vineyard like in Mosel, that is perpendicular, I don't know how you say like that, to the curves of,
it's planted down the slope.
Okay. And to understand better how he could do it, he went to Mosel to learn.
All right.
And, it's from Mosel that he brought the way of doing with these machines. I don't know that if you have it on your vineyard, Kilian, the machines, you know, that you are on the top of the mountain and the machine.
Monorail, or
exactly like monorail.
All right. Yeah, right.
No, we don't have monorail in our vineyards.
We have to carry it on our backs or heads or whatever.
And the first vineyards that were planted in Douro like that, like in Mosel, they were from my father, and they are like that with this kind of machines. So there is a big connection, and this what Killen was saying about the exposition, it's crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Crucial, and the altitude, different altitude. We really have to play with these two things, exposition, altitude. And one thing that we have good thing that we have on Monte Xisto, it's that normally it's Douro, the river, it's Douro. So, and it comes from east to west.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The river comes from east to west. And so we have the vineyards. They have expositions to the north or to the south. So it's very rare to find a place that you have exposition in the same place, exposition north and south. It's very difficult because it's in the other side of the river.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not so many bridges.
There's not so many bridges, exactly. So
it is.
We place it,
Absolutely.
the river makes a different
It makes a curve where you are.
curve and goes from south to north. So in the same place we have exposition north and south in different altitudes. This is very important to build, for example, the Quinta Monte Xisto, the balance between the freshness of the north, and the ripeness of the south, and then all the different altitudes. In the upper altitude, you have more freshness, and down it's more body.
And the altitude is extreme, isn't it? I mean, it's going up to what, 600 meters even? Or how high is it actually? How many meters, the altitude?
No, it's 350 meters.
Oh, all right. Okay.
But from 150. So
Yes, exactly.
you have 200 meters of
wow,
difference
okay.
in altitude in your vineyard.
Yes.
Crazy.
Well, in yours alone, okay.
Yeah.
That's 200 meters. Okay.
Maybe
You have to have a big physical form in the winter.
that's true.
Yeah, you have good legs, I guess.
Maybe something that many people don't realize. In Portugal, there's basically mountains directly at the coast, and they go up, I think, at close to 1,000 meters or 900 meters, and all the rain goes down there. So there's basically no rain coming from the seas. You're not so far from the Atlantic Ocean, but you don't get basically any rain.
All right.
So you're not high altitude, but yeah.
Man, Killian really knows stuff.
Yeah, that's really important.
It's really important. Douro, Douro, it's like a microclimate. No, it's a microclimate. Exactly what was Killian was saying, that we have a mountain that it's Marão, called Marão, that doesn't allow that the influence from the sea, the Atlantic Sea, arrives to Douro. It stops there, and it's a completely different climate. We have when you are going to Douro, we have from Porto to Douro, we have a tunnel that goes under this mountain, and it's raining before the tunnel, and clouds and everything, and you pass the tunnel, dry and sunny, and it's
all right.
really a big change.
João, the bottle is empty. This one was empty before, but the bottle is empty, as you can see.
Do you want a little bit?
Good work. Good work, man. Cheers. Maybe one last question from my side. Maybe it's a sacrilege to ask, but we've been talking so much about port today, and I really like port. Did you ever think about making your own port? He is.
Yeah, and it's really good.
Why isn't it here in the Wein-kreis? I mean, where is it? Where can I taste it?
That's a good question. We can open a bottle sometimes with Bernd.
All right, but you don't sell it here, right?
No.
Okay. You
Would
are,
be nice,
right.
but, yeah.
Okay. That's good to know.
Very, very important. But you know, the port, it's difficult to enter on this port world because to first of all, to have the right of doing port, you have to have a license of plantation with this right of doing port. We have,
All right.
but not all the property. A small part of the property we can do port, and we have a vintage port. One, it's we made in 2019. It was our first vintage. And we have a white port that is, you know, the port wine. It's normally, it has some sugar and alcohol. It's 19 minimum of 19 minimum of alcohol. But this white port that we have, it's a little bit like the old ports that the Portuguese made, that it's the fermentation goes almost until the end, and in the end you put just a little bit of alcohol. It's like that, Killian.
Yes.
Aguardiente, alcohol for wine.
Spirit, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. And so it's a white port that it's much more wine and less alcohol.
All right.
Less sugar. It's like the old times of the port.
Sounds fantastic.
So we are really excited about this new world of the port. New, we always worked on port, but in here with this Nicolau de Almeida, it's the first port wines. It was now in the end of the last year that we put on the market, and it's a big feeling.
But there we are again, you know, progress and tradition at the same time. Wonderful.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point to end on.
Yeah.
But that
and
we feel a lot, the tradition, for example, with the vintage, it's really I don't know how to say this, but it's a very serious thing. You cannot mistake on that.
There's not many producers from the Douro Superior who make vintage port.
No. There is Ramos Pinto, where it worked my father. There is Quinta de well, and then of course there is other, but it's not so much people doing the more traditional vintage port are on Cima Cordo, on the other sub-region.
I really have to try this. And in the name of progress and tradition, João, thank you so much for joining us. The bottle is empty. I guess the time is up.
Yeah, we're at 1 hour.
Perfect. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thanks a lot that you could find the time.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks for all the insight.
Okay, very well. It was a big pleasure to be with you.
For me as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
See you soon, hopefully, in Stuttgart.
To celebrate the port wines.
Absolutely.
Yes, we will.
At High Fidelity Bar in Stuttgart, for example.
Okay.
Okay,
well.
good night, everyone. Thanks for joining. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Ciao.
So,
Was machen wir nächste Woche?
Nächste Woche Clos de Gamot.
Clos de Gamot.
Magnum.
Oh, Cahors.
Ja, 219er, bitte garaffieren. Wird gut tun.
Ja. Unfassbares Preis-Leistungs-Verhältnis schicke ich jetzt schon voraus.
Ja.
Tolles Weingut, toller Wein, tolle Weinregion. Da gibt es eine Menge zu erzählen.
Und gerne eine Kiste kaufen oder 2 und 50
Vergessen
Jahre
erstmal.
weglegen.
Ja,
Genau.
ja. Eine Magnum, das sind gute Neuigkeiten. Ich freue mich auf nächste Woche. Gute Nacht an alle.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.